This video was published by mbkpinternational.com. This video I'm going to talk about changing the touchpad. It's just a sticker pad for the EC19 Pro or EC19M electric paper cutter. First thing you want to do is make sure you unplug your paper cutter. Just unplug the power from it. No power at all. Okay, then you're going to want to take off the two Phillips screws on this side of the crown. And there's two screws on the other side of the crown. And then you're going to come back here, you're going to take this screw out at the top here. You're going to loosen that one a little bit. Same thing to the other side. And just move these plates off to the side just a little bit, enough to slip this shield back a couple inches. The reason for that is there's a lip on this crown that if you don't do that, you can't take the crown off. Okay, once that's done, you can lift this crown up. There's a couple different, there's a data wire in here, and depending on when you purchased your cutter, if you purchased your cutter before mid-2015, you probably have the data wire where you have to lift this up just a few inches, have somebody lift it up for you a few inches, and you just reach in there and unplug the data wire from the back of this digital display. You can feel it there when you're doing it. You can just unplug it. You can go from the back and try to unplug it if you can see it there. But basically you're only going to be able to lift up a few inches like that, and then somebody else can go from the back behind there, and you can't really see it here. If you look up in there, you see it. You would be unplugging that right there. You'd be reaching up in here and unplug it. But if you lift up too high, it's mid-2015 and before, they're connected. The wire's connected to these stick tabs with zip ties, and it just got a little bit of slack to get up that high. So you can only lift this up so much, a few inches, before you unplug it. And then you just unplug it, and then you can take the crown and sit it wherever you want and work on it. Now, if you bought yours after mid-2015, you're going to have a wire that's, the data wire is going to be ran down the side inside this crown here, and you can see it over here. It's coming down like this. So in this case, you actually can just lift it up straight. You can lift it higher on this right side, and then bring it this way, and then just flip it over. Keep slack in this data wire, because if you pull it tight, you can unplug it inside the electronics compartment. And if you do that, you're going to have to open up the electronics compartment to plug it back in. There's just an easier way to do it. As long as you keep slack in this, where there's slack in this wire, you're not going to unplug it inside of here, because if you end up tugging on this, you'll unplug it inside of here. If that's the case, you're going to have to remove this cover here by using a flat screwdriver. This is a Phillips, but if you had a flat, you just put it in here and twist, put it in here and twist. Both sides, kind of pry, and eventually this will come off and you can get in there and plug it back in. But hopefully you won't need to do that. You'll have to keep slack in it, and you can see how this wire runs on the newer models. They run on, and it runs down in here like that. As long as you keep slack here, it won't unplug in there. Okay, what we're going to do is we're going to change the touchpad on this. So what I'm going to do, you just need something sharp, maybe a razor, anything to get in here. All this is the sticker. You just need to pry it off. And this would be for if like one of these buttons, one or two of these buttons weren't working. You can see they click when you push them in. If they don't push in anymore, if they're pushed in all the time, then they're not going to work. If all your buttons aren't working, then it may be something besides this. But if just like one or two of your buttons aren't working and they don't push in anymore, then you just need to change this touchpad. And once you get a corner, you can just peel this up. And all it is a sticker. As you can see, okay. And it can leave a little bit of stick material behind, but it's real thin. It's just, you can leave that on there. Okay, you can see. But anyway, once you get that free here, you can look inside here. So, and you'll see this, the other end of where it's plugged into the side here. You just unplug that, pull it straight that way. You can rock it back and forth a little bit to help you. Try to grab it on the black part. Okay, when you unplug it, notice that these the side facing like this, when you plug it in, has these holes in it here. If you flip it over, you'll notice this side does not have any holes anywhere in it. This is the way it needs to be plugged back in when you plug it back, put the new one back in, with those holes facing out this way. So you're going to plug it back in. Anyway, once you get that on, you can just take this right on out. Pretty simple. And this is actually a good one, so I'm going to be putting it right back in. But here would be, if you're replacing it, it's got just, you just peel your sticker off the back of it. There is some, you want to be careful on this. It's got some film here. You see it right there. You'd want to take off. If you forget to take this off on the inner, it's just not going to be quite as clear. It'd still be all right, but it just wouldn't be quite as clear. Most of them had this inner thing on there unless it was taken off before, but you'd want to peel that off before you stick it on. Then obviously the sticker. You just get the backing off this. Pretty simple. You just get the backing and peel it off. And when you do that, you'll have this. So, and all you do there is you're just going to feed this into this slot here. Let me go. You're going to feed it this way because it's going to be like this. You're going to be so. You're going to be feeding it in like that. And come when you feed it in through this way, it will come through here, and you can pull it all the way through. And then from there, you just line your sticker up. You know, line it up to the bottom as good into the sides as good as possible before you put it down. And then just push it down all the way everywhere. You're not going to be pushing in here because that's the open window, but you're going to go along the edge here, edge there, and then all through here. And be pushing it down good. Okay, and that's on good now. And all you got is this side here. And again, remember these holes here? You're going to be plugging this in here. You can see the metal prongs here. There's actually 10 of them. So you got to make sure you get them all. If you miss one, if you go to the top here, or if you go to where you're missing one there, it's not going to work right. You got to get all 10 correctly in there. So look carefully. And again, these holes out. Look carefully at those prongs and make sure you get it in, and then just it's going to push into where those holes will disappear. You'll see them about that much. And on this right here, it's just a good idea to feed it in here just to keep it from popping out. If you want, you can take a little stick tape, double-sided stick tape, and put it right there, or roll some tape over and put it right there. Put it there, and then just stick it to the back of that thing to where it doesn't come loose again. You don't want this hanging out here like this and getting on your belt up here. So try to feed it in there, and then put a piece of double-sided stick tape about right there on the back of it. Put it in here and just stick it to there so where it ain't gonna pop out on you again. Okay, just make sure this is plugged in good here, pushed all the way in, and we're gonna just be putting it back on. Lift it back up again, making sure you keep slack in this data wire here. If you get it tight, you could, so keep this edge close there. Then just rotate it up and around. This top up, just come down on it, get it back into position, and from there you're just going to put your shield back, put these back, this shield on both sides, put those back in place, and then you put your screws back in place. Just simple as that. If you didn't get it in right, if that data wire came unplugged in there, this thing's not going to work. So you'll have to open this thing and plug it in if you pulled on that. If the buttons are not working the right way, you're pushing one and it's doing something else, then you probably plugged this in backwards. If you flipped it over and plugged it in the wrong way, it's going to have all the wires in the wrong places. So you got to make sure you get it plugged in the right way like I showed you. That's basically it. This video is published by mbkpinternational.com.